Hello, everyone. And today we have Amaka with us. And she is like, I think last week only she did her PMP, if I'm right. And we will talk about her PMP preparation, journey, and maybe some advices she can share with us so that we can improve, like some of you can improve your PMP preparation thing. Now, before we get into PMP, let's know a little bit about her. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Amaka. I've been a project manager for a few years now. And I thought taking the PMP was more like an opportunity for me to take the next step in my career, because, it's getting to a point where you realize that project is going beyond just managing the process. You're having to manage people as well. So I thought, I needed something to give me that depth of knowledge in order to be able to enhance my skills. So hence why I even thought about taking the PMP in the first place. So yeah.
Great. So what I'm hearing is that you see an opportunity of taking your career at a next stage by doing some formal study of a project management, even though you have been doing project management for a while. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. So even though I've done the Prince 2 qualification a few years ago, but because I sort of feel like it's the environment we're in is kind of getting towards the adaptive or hybrid. So I thought, okay, I needed something to sort of bring me up to speed in that area. Yeah.
Perfect. And I do see the inclusion of people, agile, hybrid, and all those things, in my opinion, makes PMP more relevant for today's project manager. That's what I believe. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Tell me something about your PMP preparation. So how it all started and whatever you want to share about your preparation.
I would say my PMP preparation has been an exciting journey because I think I registered for the exam over a year ago, precisely. I think it was March 2020. So I bought an online course because I thought I would be able to do self-directed learning, but I was just struggling to fit that into my daily routine with work. And then we went into lockdown and it's almost like the work-life balance disappeared. So it was like working from home and there was absolutely no time to actually structure my day to, do the PMP practice. And, it became a struggle. And I'll have to admit, at some point, I just packed it all up. I said, I'm not even going to bother. So until a friend of mine said, actually, I think you should take a training where it's more interactive. And that's where she introduced me to Eisenbridge. And initially, I was a bit hesitant, I have to be honest, because I thought, how can it be interactive? It's quite theoretical. But I said, okay, let me give it a go. And I registered for the training. I think I started first week of June, So, and surprisingly, I have to say, it wasn't too theoretical. It was interactive. And I think the insights, Saket, you particularly gave into most of the lessons was quite amazing, So that sort of helped me to pick up my study habit again. And I know you kept encouraging us to study, even if it's in bite size on a daily basis. So I think I took every advice I could get because I just couldn't extend the exam any further, So I thought I have to do this or else I just have to forfeit the payment. So I would say for me was like just taking on the advice and doing that bite-sized study every day, even if it's half an hour on a daily basis, for me, it made a lot of difference.
Great. So the inspiration which I'm taking is that, yeah, it's okay to feel that, okay, it's too much in between. You may think of giving up, but you can also see many of the people who have done PMP, they could collect their energy back and take it a bite-sized learning goals and get started. And in your case, enrolling to a live virtual training gave you the structure. So it was kind of an engagement. And then during the week also, you followed our advice, our content. So you keep watching the videos in between, and that helped you in achieving your PMP exam. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
So are you working in agile environment, or your work environment is totally non-agile?
I'm working in a very agile environment. So I would say that sort of really helped me because prior to my current role, it was more like a very hybrid, not quite agile. So, but now working in a very agile environment, I thought, okay, I need to actually know more about, of course, I've done some agile courses, but I needed something that is quite in depth. So I would say that actually helped me because I could obviously relate some of the, training to my current environment. So it did make a lot of difference, to be fair.
Yeah. So that's something, a trend I'm seeing. People who are experiencing agile way of working, they are finding relatively easy the new exam, and they could do it little faster. And that's what the people I speak to, they end up sharing. So let's talk about the little detail and the exam content and maybe a specific advice. So when it comes to agile, yeah, what is your advice? How should people prepare? Which area they should focus more? Something like.
I would say a lot of focus is always on the people skills, as in the people's skill. I mean, of course, the processes are there, but I would say as a PM, with the current PMP exam content, they're focusing a lot on your ability to manage people or facilitate people. So a lot of the questions or the expectations are on those people's skills, to be honest.
Yeah, perfect. And that I see as an opportunity as well, because I spoke to some of the people and they said, whatever we are preparing, whatever technique we are learning, we can apply in our day-to-day life. Yeah, because it's the people-oriented stuff. And looks like the project management and the overall management direction is also moving towards, let's work with people well. Process is needed, but the people is the core, I think, element of making the delivery happens. Yeah.
100%, yeah. Because I would say previously, the project management world is all about delivery focus, right? You have a timeline, a schedule, you're working towards the schedule, making sure there's no slippage. But now, yes, you are working towards the schedule and making sure that there are no slippage or scope creep. But again, you're sort of carrying people along so that it's sustainable. So I guess that's why the people skills is a lot of emphasis in the current PMP, course, because they're not just after you just delivering against the timeline, but actually seeing how you make sure that is a team effort and it's sustainable. People are not burnt out in the process.
Perfect. So if I just relate it in my mind, so the earlier focus was just to get the delivery done. This is what have been told to you. But now the project management and the work we are doing requires more innovation, more adaptation. And the innovation and adaptation wants people to put their mind into the work rather than just following the instructions. And because of that, the project management style is also moving to a space where you motivate people, you work with them, you facilitate sustainable pace, you make them take the decision rather than you decide on their behalf. And that kind of a leadership skill is needed as well as tested in the exam. I guess that. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So so you prepared a little bit more on agile, or you just relied on your understanding of the agile based on your work environment?
I would say I prepared a little bit more because it's one thing to work in the environment. Because I remember during the training, sometimes, I ask questions like in the agile environment, you could be doing certain things, but it may not necessarily be best practice, because the whole of the PMP, the purpose of the PMP is to making sure you actually carrying out the best practice in every environment. So I would say my training was there for me to sort of bounce ideas from, but I was careful not to not the training, my experience was there for me to sort of relate to or pick some ideas from, but I didn't want to solely rely on it because there might be certain processes that may not be the best practice. So I had to focus on the, what is required for best practice.
Perfect. So if I take it as an advice, so even if you are working in the agile environment, don't undermine the importance of preparing for agile, because your environment might be doing in a particular way, which might be good for your environment, working well, but it might not be the global standard. It might not be a kind of a practice which is considered as a best to do. So when you prepare for an exam, even if you know the subject, you get to know the best one, because when the exam is testing you, they are giving you a typical scenario, not a particular scenario of your organization. And you need to answer the question based on that typical scenario. So learning about these best practices or whatever is coming into the body of knowledge is a good idea.
That's
good.
Right.
Yeah. And you end up learning about the overall project management space as well. I have been pushing all of you to learn about risk management and integration and all. So how that thing turned out?
I would say excellent, to be honest, because it's one of those things that you think but obviously you need to expand your knowledge so that you'll be able to put it in the right context and be able to pull that that knowledge when it's required. Because you may know about risk management, but actually, do you know it in such a detail? Because even sometimes maybe in your workspace environment, there are cases where you're thinking, is that a risk? Is that actually an issue? So, but the course actually helped you to understand, what you were talking about, because experience is one thing, but like I said, the exact best practice is another thing. Let's face it. And over time, what I've come to realize over time, if you're like an experienced project manager, over time, you work in different environments, you could pick up bad habits as you go along. It could work in that environment, but that doesn't mean it's best practice. So I would say the course was able to help me to, re-strategize myself and help me to start implementing good practice, to be honest, in risk management and every facet of
Perfect. So what I'm saying here, like what I'm learning here is that even in the traditional world, also better refer to the material to understand what is generally acceptable in those kind of environment. And you also clarify your definition, because when you work, you may not care, you call something issue or you call something risk. But when you are facing an exam, you should know what is risk and what is issue. Yeah, it means, because that vocabulary is important. And if you misinterpret it, you may misinterpret the whole question. Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure you will also agree. And this is like I'm adding from myself, and you can agree or disagree if it is. One doesn't have to remember those processes and inputs and outputs. In my view, in the new PMP exam, you just need to understand what is risk management, how it works, how the overall flow works, but don't necessarily get into the nitty-gritties of it. That might not be needed. Yeah, your comment on it.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't advise anyone to just try and, remember every fine detail. I guess is, studying to actually know it and recall that knowledge, right? Because for me, for example, I struggle to some people can actually just cram certain things and pour it out without having to know it. But for me, the way I learn is I have to understand it, interpret it in my own way, so that no matter how I see maybe the question or whatever, I'll be able to answer that question because I know it already. So I don't, like for me, Post-it notes and all that doesn't really work for me. I have to be honest. I see some people say, oh, why you have Post-it note keywords and all that. No, if I'm trying to learn about maybe storming process, I have to, when you talk about the what's it called, that I'm trying to recall that, where maybe the groups join in, they call it storming, norming, and the rest of them.
Team development.
So for me, like picturing that environment where, okay, somebody's joined the team, the storming process where they sort of have issues and all that, I have to just know it in my own way, as opposed to having Post-it notes to have exact definitions for that. I don't study like that. So I would say getting to contextualize whatever you're learning and assimilate it in your own way, then it would help you to face any difficulty you face in the exam.
Yeah, perfect. And I think in general, it's a theory which we also teach to all of our clients as well. Start relating your experience with the theory, start seeing what is happening in your work environment. Either you might be doing it or you might be observing someone else doing it. It might be happening in your project. It might be happening in somebody else's project. Just try to see and consider it accordingly. Yeah, perfect. Thank you for reiterating. Now, any specific advice you want to give for hybrid space? I see that many of the participants now getting a little bit worried about what is this hybrid stuff. And I don't see any reason of getting worried, especially to our clients, because you have enough material and enough education related to agile and non-agile way of working. But anything specifically you want to talk about hybrid?
Well, I mean, personally, I don't think it's difficult, to be honest. I guess it's just trying to understand that, in some cases if you're managing a project, it depends on, there are some phases you might actually have to apply the hybrid process. And in some cases, it might actually just be purely agile. And I just see it as a process that best fits the project you're managing. Like if you obviously have your requirements and you know what you're doing at a certain stage, it might just be, a question of predictive life cycle, or it could be, okay, at this stage, I'm going to do hybrid then. So it's not difficult. I think it's just understanding that it's a process as opposed to, something technical that you can't apply. But
yeah. So like recognizing which process is suitable at a particular time. So life cycle selection content, which we have been teaching, that is a good enough to get started with. And based on that, one can relate, okay, where this particular thing will fit in, and we go with that. Yeah. So like, how many practice test you took? Like, I think we are getting towards the closing questions now. So any specific thing, like I'm hoping that you took 4 hour long practice test before really giving the exam, but something you want to share about practice tests?
Yes, I did the 4 hour practice test one, because to be fair, before I did the first one, I struggled. I said, gosh, I can't sit for 4 hours. It's not possible. So, but I know that when you encourage us to say, try and do at least one. So I had to do one 4 hour practice test. I did run out of time, but because I couldn't believe that I ran out of time, but I did it. But I think for me, the takeaway was to actually review the questions that you got wrong. So I took my time to review the questions and went to the explanation of the questions just to understand why I got those questions wrong. And maybe in some cases, go back to the study material and review that area. If it was an area I felt I had a knowledge gap. So I don't think it's the amount of practice questions you do, so to speak, but I think it's your ability to review the questions and understand, if it's an area that you need to actually just focus on, because you find out that when you study in certain areas, you might be stronger. I find out that maybe the agile questions, I was actually strong in those areas, but maybe certain areas, maybe like planning and, requirements, I just realized that, because I'm getting familiar with the agile environment coming from maybe a hybrid and predictive life cycle. Some of the questions I need to then go back to revise the study material just to bring myself up to speed. So I guess it's not doing the questions. I didn't do the questions over and over again, so I wouldn't advise that personally, but it's actually understanding the content and revisiting the study materials if you need to.
Perfect. Thank you. So what I'm hearing is, as in a project management, it's all about retrospectives and lesson learned. That's something we keep teaching, agile and non-agile world. In both, it is important. And the test should be considered as a lesson learned opportunity or a retrospective opportunity rather than just as a deliverable on its own. So you don't have to just do multiple tests and says, I have done 4 and I scored this much. If you don't reflect on it, if you don't analyze the area, you don't take the full value out of it. So that's something advice I'm picking up. So one should spend time identifying what went wrong and how can we make sure that next time it is performing better. First thing. And the second thing is you end up learning a little bit of time management. So that is also one of the necessary things, because when you face the real exam, you need to know that particular time management space. Yeah.
100%.
Anything you want to share about your exam experience, like how the whole 4 hours things went and what was like the feelings and emotions during that time? Yeah.
Yes, it's an exciting one, because when I started, I thought, well, 4 hours, I'll have plenty of time. But my first 60 questions, I took my time because I thought I'm not going to rush it. But I realized that towards the end, like with my last, because I think the questions are split into 60 questions. So you take 10 minutes break, which of course I didn't take because I thought, gosh, I didn't crack on. So towards the last 60 questions, I had like 40 something minutes left. I just could not believe it. So one thing I said to myself, I said, I have to get to the end of the question, which I would advise anyone to do, because if you're running out of time, then you obviously have to skip questions that you probably not sure, maybe just flag them and come back, but make sure you get to the end, because some of the questions towards the end might actually be easy questions you could easily scrape some marks from. So for me, and I made sure I answered all the questions. So that's, I would say, by all means, tackle the questions as quickly as you can, but obviously make sure the accuracy is there, but then find time to review the questions as well. Because the 4 hours, trust me, will fly by. I could not believe, I've never done a 4-hour exam. And initially I thought, definitely it's not going to last 4 hours, but it did.
Good. Important advice. So say manage your time. And if you are running out of time, then also be aware that you are running out of your time. So you start making some quick decisions. The complicated questions you may just mark and move forward. So at least go till the end and make sure that you have addressed and looked at all those questions. Perfect. I think I'm done with my questions. Anything you want to say before we close?
I would say, by all means, find out what study pace works for you, because people are very different. For some people, they probably would dedicate 2 hours a day. Some people might be just half an hour, but just consistency is the key. And don't sort of push the exam too backwards, so to speak, because some people might say, well, they need 3 months to study. Personally, the more you leave it, the more you probably forget what you have learned, because you do get busy. and you probably won't have time to revisit what you have studied. So I would say, if you've done the course, by all means, don't waste too much time to take the exam, because the knowledge is still fresh. You can just recall those knowledge and do the best you can.
Perfect. I think you did the exam within 1 month of the course finishing, I guess. Yeah.
3 weeks, actually.
3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you are the first one from your group to do it. And I keep saying, people, the more you delay, your probability of giving the exam goes down. So forget about passing or failing. Your probability of even giving the exam goes down if you delay it for 3 months, 4 months, after that it goes down. Great. Thank you for taking time and speaking to us regarding your PMP preparation. I enjoyed working with you during the sessions as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I'll definitely take some more courses with you guys. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Amaka. Bye. Yeah.
All right, then. Bye.